Hey everybody, it's been a while since I've done a live video, although it's not live, I'll be posting this later, but I am so excited because I am at Niagara Falls. 3 days of driving to get here, and let me tell you, it's a cloudy day today, it's very foggy, but I just need to share with you where I'm at. Let me see if I can try to see if I can swing this around. I think I might just have to show it to you this way. So there we are. I don't know if you can see the falls behind me. I'll go and I'll try to show you some better pictures. You know, last night when I arrived, it was all lit up, a beautiful indigo blue, and it was raining, so it was kind of wild. It's kind of wild coming and arriving here. But it's interesting because today it's cloudy, not raining, but it's just a completely different feel. But anyhow, I decided to do a falls tour. As I started out last week, I was given a suggestion to go do blessings over the waters. And I first started out with the Mississippi River right in downtown. Well, it wasn't downtown, but it was in Minneapolis, right by the airport. And that was a week ago. And then I was told, now you need to go Lake Superior. So I headed on up to Duluth. And just north of Duluth is a waterfall called Gooseberry Falls. Now, where I'm in Minnesota, it's still pretty cold out. So we had some beautiful warm weather and the falls had just opened up. And I'm gonna see if I can swing you around and give you a better view of the falls from here. Anyhow, as I'm sharing, I was at Gooseberry Falls, and it just started to crack open, and you can see the water coming up underneath the ice, kind of like a chick coming out through their egg. I was like, spring's coming. How exciting. So that kind of gave me the idea, talk about a spring egg, right? An Easter egg idea of, well, why don't we go from this, not the smallest falls, but this probably the falls that's the farthest west of the Great Lakes, to Niagara Falls. And so that's what I've been doing. So for the past 3 days, I left on Tuesday, it's now Friday, I've been driving. And it's been phenomenal to be able to go from Lake Superior to Lake Michigan, past Lake Huron, which, to be honest, I didn't really get to see a whole lot of Lake Huron. But Lake Michigan and Lake Huron are both frozen over. When I saw of Lake Superior, it was open. I mean, it's still frozen, but it was open. And all the weather, it's how do I want to put it? It's so cool that the water's underneath, and yet because the water is coming in so fast, it's actually raising up the ice. And it's interesting because I'm down here and I'm looking at the ice, and I don't want to get too close to the edge, but you see how the ice is right there, but the water right by the falls is open, and so it's raising up the ice as that water is coming through. And I just showed you a shot of, this is kind of their bypass. I don't know if I'm getting on the camera or not, but that's one of the bypass places where they take water from above the falls to keep it from flooding, to have it come through at the bottom of the falls, so it then passes through, and of course it also powers the hydroelectric dam. At least that's what I was told at the hotel. But anyhow, so here I am, and this has kind of been where I've been told to do my blessings. So I'm actually going to do one right now, if you don't mind. So you can see what I'm doing, what the prayer is that I'm asking for, because water is so important because water holds energy, and of course we know we're made of water, and I was reminded like 70% of us is water. So it's something that we need, but also the plants and the animals and the fish and the birds, they need the water too. But in all honesty, and especially here's at the border between Canada and the United States, I noticed this as I was driving through Canada yesterday, is they really have a lot of their land is not impacted by the pollution and the toxicity that we have in the United States, whether it's from fertilizers or traffic or people or litter or anything. I mean, it's absolutely pristine up in Canada, and I think they take great pride in keeping it being very pristine. So as this water is coming from the north and entering into the United States, it's coming in clean. And then somehow we need to take this water and we need to cleanse it. So that is my intention, and my action right now is to do the cleansing that's needed to bring water from the north to the south, whether it's through the rivers like the Mississippi River or the St. Croix River, which I crossed, or the Mississauga, which is coming here through Canada. We got the Ohio, and we have the Missouri. I mean, we have so many rivers that come from this part of the world. It's absolutely fascinating. How many people are fed and cleansed because of the waters that come through these rivers, especially in the middle of America. The breadbasket of America. So you think of how these waters also provide the food that we, that waters the food, the plants that we grow for our food. And in all truth, that food feeds the world. So it's so important that we put out our intention for good, healthy, loving water. And as I was trying to get back to the first point, is we say words of love and gratitude and thanksgiving into the waters. It changes the structure of the water molecule. It actually looks very calm and organized, like the flower of life. It's when we put out negative words or we make the water hard. And as I was sharing a few days ago, it's like we have hard hearts and we're trying to soften our hearts. So as we do our healing and as we become awake from this challenging time we've been in America, and I need to also say in Canada and really the rest of the world, we're in a time of what I would say a softening of our hearts. But one of the things I know is if we try to unsoften hearts too fast, we end up breaking the hearts. So one of the messages I received a year ago is to, kind of like the idea of hypothermia. You slowly raise the temperature. So we have a gentle healing of people's hearts. And that was my prayer a year ago, and I got on my first world tour, country tour, was to ask for 10 people to help me pray. And if you'd like to join me in this, pray that we soften people's hearts. As they say, a dry sponge cannot hold water. And we think a dry heart cannot hold love. So how do we bring love into the world? So many people are asking that question. How do we do that? And it's by giving out a little bit of love, unconditionally, not expecting it in return, but it always comes back. But just to give a little bit of love. Just like we see the waters here. And so this is kind of where I was guided to do a waterfalls tour, because it's not just about the water and the ice unthawing and spring coming and the ice cracking, but it's also about sometimes we have to take a leap of faith. We have to do a waterfall, and it's in that falling of water that we got it. Well, I mean, not literally. Please don't take me literally here. But we have to take the symbolic leap of knowing that we're going to be caught when we get to the bottom, right? Or if we have to go over the waterfall, we're going to be caught. And we're going to be moved, of course, from one river into another. So here I am at the highest points, probably here in America and the United States. So it separates two countries of the waterfall. So it's with this that I'm going to extend a prayer to the Most High, to our angels, our guardian angels, to our ancestors, the First Nations, to those who have been here, our veterans who have fought for our countries, those who make their livelihood off the waters, whether they're fishermen or they push the tugboats up and down the rivers, or they do pleasure cruises, those who love to get their pleasure from the water with their boats and their fishing and their swimming and all the fun activities we have in the summertime, that we have a gentleness that comes through us, to us, in the coming months, in the coming days, maybe even in the coming hours, that we are encouraged to face this with unconditional love. Raise our hearts, raise our vibration, raise our reality of thinking of how blessed we are to have this transfer of water from Canada down to America. Because as I read the other day in the Bible, the waters are a gift from the Most High. It's what He watches, is the waters. He says He leaves the mountains and the dry lands. Well, He watches the waters and the dry lands. He leaves the mountains and those who have tilled the land to those who want to own things. But otherwise, it's at the hand of God that He has the waters. He has the dry lands. He has the seas and the oceans. And so it's with that mindset, and I wish I could remember where that scripture came from, but it's not coming. I think it's 2 Chronicles, somewhere in 2 Chronicles. But it was such a great message for me to receive yesterday, because it reminded me that we have a responsibility to care for what nature provides to us for free. We have a responsibility to care for our future generations. And to know that we need to heal what has been hurt. We need to heal what has been broken. And in that healing, in that positive intention, we create something new. We create a new timeline. And so I encourage you to join me in creating this new timeline, and creating, if you even have just a glass of water in front of you, tell yourself before you drink the glass, give it a little bit of grace. You can even say, hey, I love you, to a glass of water. It's kind of a strange thing to do the first time. But when you drink that glass of water, you realize you are giving yourself some self-love. You're telling yourself that you love yourself. And yeah, it's just a glass of water, but before you drink it and you put it in your body, you put out positive intentions. And there's actually a study that did this, and they said if you put out loving intentions and then you drink it, it feeds you. It takes care of that thirst. It's when you have an argument, or you say something negative, or you seek something that wants to destroy, what they say, make the water hard. That's when it becomes, as I received from my scripture today, when we give our gifts to the Most High, our tithe, when we make it doomed, I think is the word, and this comes from, I want to say, Leviticus 23rd chapter, and we doom the gift that we give back to God, God has to doom us back. But if we give our tithe out of joy and thankfulness and gratitude, He gets to give that back to us. And so it's with that message, I'm going to wind this up. I'm going to continue on my walk. I'm going to take some great pictures if I can see anything through the fog. And, maybe I'll get lucky and the sun will pop out, which would be awesome. But I'm told when it does, we get rainbows. So if that's the case, I'll try to get a picture of that too. But in the meantime, know that God has us in his hands. I know these are difficult days, but if we still are saying we're grateful and we're thankful for the gift of life every single day, every single breath that we take, every time we have a glass of water, we put out a little positive intention. Or if you want to go to your own local park or your own local water source and you want to put out a little positive intention, kind of take what I'm doing and, pay it forward. I'd love to see that happen. I'd love to see that happen in America, in Canada, wherever you are in the world, that we just put out some positive intentions in the world. So it's with that, family, as I say, love, joy, peace, and harmony. Have yourself a great day.